So I will make this really quick. First question though, do any of you either manage or host VDI environments today? Okay, there are a few of you. Okay, well I think that's going to change, but I got it. So bottom line is virtual desktops, and my laptop is frozen. So virtual desktops are when you take a user's physical workstation sitting at their desk and you move it into the data center, or today the cloud. It has a lot of benefits that I will probably get into at another session. So today really what I want to talk about is there are multiple vendors that offer this. Some of you might be familiar with them. We have our own capability. Citrix is a huge partner of ours, and actually we are partnered with VMware. They deployed their virtual desktop infrastructure solution into Azure Commercial recently, and they are now working on doing that in Azure Government. And also Frame is available for tech preview if any of you want to try it. But I really today want to focus on Citrix because they have two solutions and both of them are available today. The first one is Citrix Cloud, and that is their managed solution where they manage the control plane for you and all you manage is the desktops. And Citrix Cloud lets you take one image and clone it into Azure Government either one time or 10,000 times. Their second solution was actually their first solution, and that's their traditional XenApp and XenDesktop product that they've had for years. That actually, traditionally, either you manage it or a partner or a customer, you're responsible for updating the software, the hardware, managing everything end to end. So Citrix Cloud really takes out some of that management for you. A few months, or last month, we announced Citrix Cloud was available for provisioning at Azure Government, and what I'm sharing with you all today is that second line there, XenApp and XenDesktop, as of I think Tuesday, can be deployed into Azure Government, and that's what I'm going to demonstrate for you. So that's actually a huge opportunity for all of you, because if you have a XenApp and XenDesktop environment, you don't need to forklift everything. You can keep your control plane on premises and just deploy into that from Azure Government. So that's what I'm going to share with you. Whoops. Okay, so let me just figure out how to, there we go. So I'm actually logging into the XenApp environment that's available in the Azure Government Marketplace. This is a trial that anybody can deploy today. So this is a website that really, it's your storefront. It lets you publish applications and desktops to users. You can do a lot of things that I'll probably get into later, but bottom line is it's very flexible for users. This is the website version. You can also put it on their start menu. In this scenario, I'm actually going to show you Citrix's management console. So I'm launching Citrix Studio here. So this is actually running on a Server 2016 machine inside of Azure. You can have one machine running, or you can clone it so that you might have 10 machines to serve 1,000 people. Or, so this is, yep. So just, okay, so this is Citrix's console, but what I really, in the interest of time, want to focus on is what Citrix added today. So here you can see I've already created one connection, and I'm actually going to edit it because I want to steal some settings from it. So I've got my subscription ID. This is actually unique to your environment, your subscription within Azure. You can have multiple subscriptions within your one tenant. So I'm just copying that so I can create another connection and do that. Just create a new connection. You can see here they have multiple options, but what I want to focus on in Azure is Azure. And this option here, Azure US Government, is what's brand new as of 2 days ago. So if you have a Citrix environment today, you just need to download that latest software, that's 7.16, upgrade your environment to this, and this will be available for you. So this is where they ask for my connection ID, or my subscription ID, and I'm just going to name it Demo. And I need to create a service principal. So this is how I'm granting, oh geez. Let's hope I get this right. First try, okay. Sure. So now I just use my credentials to authorize Citrix to log in and create a service principal that it will use to then manage the environment. Nope, it's going. So next step is select the region. So it's queried the environment and it knows these are the regions available in Azure Government. And then it's asking me to basically name my resources, my desktops. I pick the network within Azure that I want to use. And the subnet is already selected for me because there's only one. So now it's creating the connection. This is just going to take a second. So now I have my second connection. So now I have a connection to Azure. And just to short circuit things, I'll show you the catalog I already created. So down here, it's actually yelling at me because I didn't license Office properly, but I would fix that, I promise Microsoft. So this is actually a catalog. Well, they don't have a lot here. This is a catalog that I created earlier, but I'll just real fast show you how to connect and deploy a desktop or not. So I want to do Windows 10. We also announced recently Windows 10 is available in the Azure Government Marketplace, so you can actually take that, deploy one VM, and Citrix will clone it for you 10,000 times if you wanted to. So now it's having me just pick the VHD that I want to use, and I'm just going to arbitrarily pick one here. It's telling me to stop it. It needs to be turned off. Pick the storage I want. I can pick the hub licensing that Jamie mentioned earlier if I'd like to. I can pick, from here it lets me pick the type of VM SKU that I want to use. So I can limit this if I need to, but in my account I've got access to everything. That's just some settings specific to Citrix. I can create a new resource group within Azure. And it's letting me pick the network if I want to. It will also ask me where I want to put it in Active Directory, which is important. And I'm adding pound signs because it'll increment that number for each VM that it creates. And this I will not make us wait through. I will say the initial deployment takes, half hour maybe. If you do an update later, it takes a few minutes. Now, I'll go back. So that's deploying the desktop. And here is a desktop that I deployed already. When I click on this, it's launching Windows 10. So some of you familiar with Citrix have seen this before. But this is a Windows 10 desktop running inside of Azure. You can have any endpoint you want. You can have a Windows endpoint. You can have a Linux endpoint. Doesn't really matter. So that's all I've got, unless anybody has questions.
You run a Windows desktop on Azure using Citrix. You can stretch that from your existing on-premise.
You can.
Just run your data center.
Yep.
Your workstation notice is in.
So if you want to evaluate testing a desktop in Azure Government, I think the point is you don't need to build everything over again if you have it on-prem already. You just upgrade your environment to 7.16. You get that option in the dropdown. You use your Azure Government subscription to connect, and you can actually clone your desktops from on-prem to the cloud. So, okay. Thank you. That was under 10 minutes.
All right. Nice. Questions?
You need the.
Are you gonna send us home? help me understand your question. Hardware attestation.
So, from a governance perspective, right? So you have 1,000 or 100 instances, and each one has its own IP. Fine, that's a different story, but in terms of governance, how many instances of certain VMO, either native OS or guest OS, how do we account for how many OSs are running at each time? Is there a way to validate that, this 100?
Yeah, I think the question is, if I have this VDI instance, how do I make sure that I'm not over provisioning the environment and handling that from either a licensing standpoint or a governance perspective?
Yeah, so are you asking
Talk to that.
specifically about VDI, or just you don't want to have VM sprawl where you're paying for a bunch of instance VMs you don't need? Is that? Yeah. So. Okay. So I mean, with VDI, all of our partners are aware that everybody is asking that question, so they have various degrees of solutions. Some of them let you turn on and off the number of machines you have. The one thing I actually skipped in this demo due to time was Citrix just made it possible so that it only allocates machines when they boot up. So when they shut down, they're not even there. They also do things like use machine learning to figure out when they need to spin up machines, and they can also do things like figure out it's Christmas time or the holidays, I don't need as many VMs, or Monday morning or a snow day. And a lot of public sector, we've got people that work from home supposedly during snow days, so it does things like that. So all of the VDI vendors are doing that. Microsoft has tools that we're putting in place to help you figure out how you're actually using your VMs and help you control that cost. So I'm not sure. Sorry.
So these gentlemen will be here for the final networking tonight that ends at 8:30. So with that, we just wanted to keep ourselves on track, if you don't mind. So Steve and Jamie will be here for those questions. So with that, our next meetup, this is our November-December meetup. So the next one is January 31st. Where we're going to have a topic about how to jumpstart your cloud implementations in the new year. So if you have any speaker ideas in general, we're looking at how to jumpstart in January. And in February, we're going to look into Demo Palooza. So if you have some really cool demos that you want to share, that's the concept we're building for February. So thank you very much. We'll see you next time.